And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I'm talking with Brandon Leibowitz. Brandon, thank you, by the way, for scheduling me into your busy calendar and being my guest on Experts Speak today.
Thank you for having me on today.
Well, you are welcome. So Brandon started a company, SEO Optimizers, and he works with small business owners to help them get leads, clients, sales from online SEO. And I'm super excited because, well, as I told him, that's kind of people, I don't hear about it as much anymore, Brandon, because it's not like the next shiny object, but it's super, super important for business owners. And I think a lot of them are still confused about it. So I'm looking forward to diving in and figuring this thing out. Tell me, as we take that leap, how in the world did you get doing this?
I just kind of fell into it after I graduated from college, got my degree in business marketing, and the first job I got out of school was helping a company out with their digital marketing, which I didn't know much about it. They didn't know much about it either. They said, don't worry, we're going to learn with you and take you to classes, workshops, seminars. And this is back in 2007. After working there or going to a few classes and workshops, I just realized that everyone's probably going to have a website in the future. And there's lots of different ways to get traffic. You could do SEO, social media. I was helping out with paid ads. I was doing email marketing for them. I was kind of doing it all. And everything works to get traffic. But SEO is just a way to get free traffic. And I thought, who wants to spend money when you can get free traffic? So over the years, I worked at different advertising agencies as a director of SEO and realized that I could do freelance work and would pick up clients here or there before work, after work, and on my lunch breaks. Worked on that and built that up to where I was able to eventually quit my job and focus solely on this, and been doing that ever since.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So you said a couple things in there which are really intriguing to me, and I'm sure my listeners. Free traffic, and I really think that's one of the aspects that I want to dive into, because business owners have this love-hate relationship with marketing. And so many times when you do paid ads, whether it's online or offline, it's a gamble, right? I'm gonna throw some money at something. It might work, it might not work, and it takes a while to figure it all out, right? It can work, gangbusters, but it can also be a pit that you just throw money in, right? SEO is a kind of a different animal. So unpack what SEO is. Let's just take it down to a third grade level, okay? Let's just talk about SEO. What actually are those names or letters, and what is it first, and then let's dive into it, okay?
Yeah, definitely. SEO is search engine optimization, which means optimizing websites for search engines, which really is just Google kind of runs the show.
All right, yeah.
When you search on Google, there's ads at the top. Those are all paid ads. Anytime anyone clicks on those, that website is paying Google. Could be a couple cents per click, could be a couple dollars per click, could be a couple $100 for one click. So the ads get very expensive. As long as you're making a positive return on ad spend, then I would say there's no need to shut them off, but they are very expensive and people don't trust the ads like they trust organic. So right below the ads are the organic results. There's 10 spots on that first page of Google. And that's what SEO is all about, is trying to get your website ranked in those organic spots. Right below the organic, there's a couple more ads. But in between all that, it's not just websites that appear. Images appear now, videos appear. If your local business, maps appear. If your e-commerce, shopping, or products appear. So best practice is optimize all that. You have all your images need to be optimized. If you have any videos, optimize them. If you don't have videos, create them sooner than later, because Google owns YouTube. And anytime you search and you see videos, 90% of the time it's going to be a YouTube video, because Google doesn't want to promote Vimeo or Facebook. They're all kind of competitors. So they're going to promote YouTube as much as possible. And if you're a local business, then we got to get you in the maps. If you're e-commerce, we got to get your product feed in Google Merchant Center and optimize. So it's really just trying to take up as much free real estate as possible on that first page of Google without spending money on ads.
I like it. Okay. And the one thing that, I mean, you said a couple things there that as a business owner intrigue me and excite me. And you said, you didn't say a couple things that I know you said that really make me go, ugh, right? You were talking about free on Google, free on YouTube, free on Google Maps, and a couple, three other things. And I went, yes, that's awesome. Tying them all together. And then I went, but I don't want to do that. And I don't, because I'm an entrepreneur, Brandon, and I don't know how to do it. And oh my goodness, that's, I'll go do something else, please. And I think that's where a lot of business owners are. We get excited about all this. How do you help business owners put their heads around this without getting so complex to go, what are you wanting to make happen? And here's how we can do it organically.
And I was just finding that low hanging fruit and seeing, are they already on Google Maps and they're position 5? Let's try to push them up to get to the top. Or let's see that their website ranks on Google on page 20. It's going to take a lot more time to get you up there. So let's work on that, but let's prioritize where you're going to see the most movement the fastest and try to get you up for everything. But some things move quicker than others. With SEO, it's not immediate. It's more the long-term game. Unfortunately, you have to build trust up, and getting Google to trust you takes time. There's no real shortcut to that. You just got to keep working at it.
Yeah. Well, and that plays into one of the marketing philosophies I have that I teach my clients is consistency over time. And if you really want SEO to be effective, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you need to look at this as a long game. It is a marathon, right? You don't hire Brandon and say, okay, I want SEO, and by the way, we've got 30 days to make it happen, right? That's probably not the best approach. It's more like, I'm committed to this for the next 1 to 3 years because it's going to build over time. Is that a fair assessment?
Yep, you got to stick with it the long run. If you just jump in and out, it's going to have little bumps and it's going to move you up a little bit. But to really get that traffic consistently moving up, you got to stick with it and be consistent. Just with anything, with SEO, social media, email, all that stuff, you got to stick with it. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Just learn from it, test, optimize, and build off of it and keep growing.
Yeah. Now, when you say, you keep saying this word optimize, which is in SEO, give me a layman's term of what does that mean if my website or it's really my online presence, right, is optimized? What does that mean?
It means making sure that you have the right keywords in the right places. That way it gets, or that people find you when they're looking. So
Yeah.
making sure everything's done and built in a way that's good for people, but also good for search engines. So they reward you with that free traffic. And then once you get that traffic, then you gotta make it usable for people. So you gotta have that balance where it's good for the search engines, so it's also good for people.
Yeah. And I love what you said there. People find you when they're looking, because I think business owners forget that the consumer, your prospect, is searching. That's why they call it a search engine, right? They're out looking for information and somebody who can provide that information, but they're looking many times in a variety of modalities. So some people like print, some people like video, some people like podcast and audio. And do you help? I mean, do you help business owners as you're starting out with them to look at, you've got a lot of great content here, but have you thought about video because you're not doing video, and here's how it works? Or explain a little bit how you work with small business owners in that high level kind of strategy of what do you have and where are you going and all that.
Unfortunately, most don't want to do video, but I push it as much as I can because YouTube is the second most popular website on the internet. And if you look at all social media, everything's really shifted to video. People want visual content. They don't want to sit there and read a 500-word article or blog post or press release. They'd rather just watch somebody or listen to it on audio. So I try to push that, but most people don't want to get behind the camera. But once they do it, they realize how easy it is and they're just overthinking it all. But try to help out with that strategy overall, try and let them know this is where you should go. Maybe create a podcast or be a guest on other people's podcasts to get your name out there, and just try to make yourself that authoritative figure in your industry. And the way you do that is you put yourself out there, or put one of your employees out there, or you got to put someone out there, because if not, you're just hiding behind a company name and it loses that authenticity.
Well, it does, because you're just hitting on my marketing things. People buy you more than what you do, because every business owner is in a competitive environment. And I tell people, your audience isn't really looking for information as much as somebody who can help them implement that information. Because I can find information on estate planning or financial planning, or I can probably find it on SEO, right, on Google. I'm not real sure what to do with it. So I don't need more information. I need somebody like Brandon who say, okay, here's what I'm trying to do. How do you help me figure this out? Because I don't want to spend my time researching, trying to figure out SEO, Brandon, because my time is more valuable talking with prospects and clients and serving them, right? How do you help business owners understand that aspect of everything that you do.
That is also tricky too. Sometimes they want to do it themselves. So
Yeah.
I teach classes and do consulting and teach it to them, but then most of the time they're just like, all right, this is a little bit more than I thought. I should probably just have someone like yourself just manage it, because it does become almost like a full-time job
Oh yeah.
when you're doing SEO, and you just got to figure out what are you an expert at. And, if you want to learn SEO, that's great. But it's like me learning how to like become a dentist or a lawyer or fix the engine in a car. It's like I could do it, but it's going to take a lot of time. And I'd rather just pay someone to do it for me versus me trying to figure it all out, which it's not bad to have that knowledge, but how often are you going to implement it? And that's where you just got to prioritize your time and figure out where you should delegate and where you should just focus on your core capabilities.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm all about focusing on core capabilities, because all it takes probably is one client for most businesses to pay for your services over the course of time. And what you find is you get that one client, and guess what? That tells you that it's starting to work. You stay at it, you're going to start getting more leads, more people on your email list. Hopefully you're doing some emailing, more people watching your videos. Those people are in the market at some level for what you do. Some businesses have really short buying cycles. Some have really long. You got to know all of that so that as you work with Brandon, he can help you build out the structure. How do you work with business owners? I mean, you teach some classes, but if somebody hires you, you work with them, and then you and your team actually go out and do all the SEO, the keywords, and all that stuff on, is it the website and the Google? I mean, how does all that work?
Yeah, we take care of it for them so they could just focus on the business. And I mean, if they want to learn it, I'm happy to teach them. But most of the time, it's like, let me just take care of it for you. And you can just, if you have questions, happy to jump in, explain what this is. But most of the time, you don't really need to know what a title tag is or what schema code is or alt tags for images. So it's kind of just picking and choosing where they need help, or what they want to learn, but really going in and taking care of it for them so they can just focus on the business and not have to worry about writing blog posts for this week or writing a press release or doing an article or whatever it may be that we need to do.
Yeah. So do you guys do all of those types of things as you're working with a client? Are they a la carte services? How does that aspect work when you work with somebody?
Well, so it depends. Every business is different, but the way you rank a website is not really by putting keywords on your website. All that's important, but Google doesn't care what you put on a website because they don't trust anybody. And you got to build trust up. The way you build trust is by getting other websites to talk about you. The more websites that talk about you that are related to what you're doing, the more trustworthy Google sees you as, and the higher they're going to rank you. So a lot of SEO is a lot of content marketing on third-party sites, doing articles, blogs, press releases, whatever needs to be done to get you published on another website. So I take care of that for them so they don't have to worry about reaching out to these niche blogs and trying to build relationships with them and seeing what type of content they want, writing that content, sending it over to the editors to get approved, scheduling their content calendar. It's a long process, but
dude, yeah, give me a stick, poke me in the eye right now, because everything you just said, I'm sitting here as an entrepreneur going, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And that's why people like Brandon exist, because it needs to be done. And if you're looking for an ROI on your business, SEO is a great way to do it. You've got to be committed to it, and you've got to know what he's been talking about. How do you do good? We hear that phrase, content marketing. Well, what is it? Well, it's a lot of what Brandon just talked to you about, right? It can be blog posts, it can be podcasts, it can be press release, it can be a dozen things. Doesn't have to be a dozen things. It can be very consistent, but it's building your credibility, as I would say, in that space, so that Google knows you're credible, but so that your prospects know you're credible. Because when they see you, when they're searching or something, and they see your website, and they see that you've been on 5 podcasts, and they realize that you've got 6 YouTube videos and something over here on LinkedIn, and they're like, oh, this person, this entity is an authority in what I'm looking for. Is that kind of what happens in the prospect's mind as they're getting there and you've done your SEO work and businesses are starting to get traction, that's kind of what starts to differentiate one of your clients from somebody else who isn't doing it?
it definitely helps out for sure. Putting the face behind the company, going on interviews, podcasts, YouTube videos, social media, but not just posting just a general image, but like posting themselves or clients or anything that would just be more personable. That just really helps out. significantly nowadays. Just
Yeah.
and that personal touch.
Yeah. And then how does it, so many times we think this is all about leads and things. How do you help take somebody who's maybe a lead or whatever to help that business owner learn to convert them into an appointment, which is normally like that. To me, it goes from a lead to maybe a prospect. They're on my list, and then they become an appointment where we have a conversation. Then they become a client. Then they're a referral source. Does SEO flow into that whole mechanism, and how do you help business owners understand that whole structure?
Yeah, no, I've realized over the years that SEO is just one part of just getting you traffic, but business owners don't care about traffic. They want phone calls, sales, leads, emails. So trying to help out with that instead of just doing the SEO, but trying to make sure the website's optimized to convert people, which is also very, very important. Conversion rate optimization. Once people get to your website, how you get them to call you or email you without hitting that back button, because over half the people that come to your website are probably gonna hit that back button immediately. So how do you keep people on your website and get them to convert? And then once they convert, then how do you get them to convert into a client? That's where we do like remarketing ads, following people around everywhere they go, trying to give them something for free. So you could collect that email address. So you could send them just emails of value, offering just benefits, not promoting yourself, but just giving tips and advice, things like that. And then just try to just have as many touch points as possible, because you can't just have, well, depending on what you're selling, but usually you need multiple touch points for people to start trusting you and wanting to buy off of you. So just having those multiple touch points in different areas just helps build your name up, build that trust up, and build that credibility. And then you get the YouTube videos, podcasts, the social media, the email marketing, those ads that follow them around. They're gonna be like, wow, they're everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see this company.
So true. And it happens. I get that comment a lot, honestly. And we've been after this game for a few years of consistent posting blogs, podcasts, hosting podcasts, being on podcasts. I mean, over 5 years ago, I was nobody nowhere. Right? I've been doing my business since 2013, but I had no great presence until my team came and started putting things together. And you Google my name now, I'm everywhere. And I hear people say, man, I see you everywhere. Well, it's because we built the system, right? And that's great if you're a company like ours who have people and processes and teams and all that. If you're not, you need Brandon, because I can attest to the fact that my presence on online can be attributed to consistency in everything that we've talked about, everything Brandon's talked about. It pays off in spades down the road. It is not a short term. Don't look at this in, well, what's the next 90 days look like? No, let's look at the next 1 to 3 years. But if you're a business owner and you really are, and if you're going to be in business for the next, I don't know, 5 years to a decade, connecting with Brandon is going to be one of the best decisions you ever make, because it's consistent. And there are all the other paid ads and all the other shiny objects that you can do, but you need to have, I look at SEO, Brandon. If you go to the beach, I know you live in LA area, you go to the beach sometimes and you stand on the beach and you see the waves, and it's not the waves that kill people most of the time at the ocean. It's the current underneath it. It's what you don't see. And I think SEO many times is that current. It's this strong pull that builds the credibility over time. Whereas, TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever the newest thing is, that's kind of the wave of the day. And I see SEO as that current that is strong and that's going to be there and that's going to draw into you the right type of prospects and clients over time to give you a strong, credible presence. Is that a fair analogy?
I like that one. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one before, but that just kind of summarizes it, because it's that unknown. People don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but once you start building that trust up, you see yourself moving up those rankings and starting to dominate and taking over the search results. And it is that ambiguity of like, what's going on behind the scenes. But as long as you send the right signals to Google, you're going to get that trust. Or if the waves move in the right, or the current goes in the right way, you're going to get those tides and the waves out.
And when you do it right, it's really fun. I was looking at my calendar today, and I've had 3 people pop onto my calendar, in the weeks to come for appointments. And I thought, that's really cool. Well, do you know how that happens? It happens because we've done what you're telling us for years, and we're out lots and lots of places, putting out great content, educating our prospects, waiting for them to be ready. And when they're ready, they book a call. And because we've been everywhere and they've seen us in 1,000 different things, they're already sold. They already know who we are. Now it's just a conversation. I don't have a big, strong sales presence because I don't need one, right? People are pre-sold by the time they get to me. And it's a great conversation. That's how I like to do business. And that's how you can do business as well. If you've got somebody like Brandon on your team who is doing all of that, he's an expert at SEO and really giving you that online presence that is really, really important. And it's not going away anytime soon. So don't think Brandon's in a fly-by-night company. He's been doing it for quite some time, but that whole online presence is just going to become more and more and more important in the years to come. So, Brandon, how does somebody out there listening to an entrepreneur, where do they go to find you to get more information, to go, yeah, I've thought about this. I don't have a clue how to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to at least have a conversation or see what you offer. Where would they go?
So I created a gift for everybody that wants to learn more. If they go to my website at seooptimizers.com, that's seooptimizers.com/gift. They could find that there along with my contact information and classes I've done over the years. I've done it for free so they could see step-by-step how to do a lot of stuff that we talked about. And also, if they want to book some time on my calendar, I am happy to check out their website from an SEO point of view, and they could book some time there as well for free.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to grab that. Make sure that's in the show notes because, business owners, we're kind of busy. We're meeting with people and things. So a lot of times people listen to these podcasts on the run, but I'm going to have all that information in the show notes so that you can go back and check out Brandon, although it is an easy website. I love that, by the way, SEOoptimizers.com. Make sure you put /gift and connect with Brandon. See how you can start talking with him and make the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years of your business much more profitable, because once you get to that level, everything changes. The doors open. People start searching for you, and what you're able to do is make a bigger impact in the eyes of your audience when you have great SEO. And Brandon's the guy to help you out. So, Brandon, wow. Thank you for doing what you do. Thanks for being an expert in this and for sharing with my audience about how they can grow their business through SEO. I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on today.